I get a lot of people asking me how we were blessed to walk away from corporate America in our early 30s. Well, listen, I don't want to keep that a secret. I want to share it with the world. And so maybe you're listening to this podcast and you're trying to figure out, how do I even get started on my journey of entrepreneurship and getting to a level of freedom? Well, text the word freedom to 737 777 9909. Enter your information in, and we look forward to sharing some information with you. A proven system with small overhead, right? That you can do part-time, spare time, right from the comfort of your home, and have amazing mentors, coaches, and a community of entrepreneurs who are willing to support you and help you on your journey to freedom. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales. Have you ever felt stuck? Have you ever felt like there's got to be more than life than the reality that you see every day? Tune in weekly, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays as we crack the codes to freedom in every area of your life. Welcome to Code Freedom. I'm your host, Eddie Bales, and this is episode 124. And today we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about the stock market. I've been hinting at it quite a bit, but I'm really excited about the stock market. It's nothing new. Actually, it started May 17th, right, 1792, on the corner of Wall Street and Broadway. Now, this is not a history lesson on stocks, but let me just take you through my journey of the stock market, right? So, uh, when I was in college and when I had started my entrepreneurial ventures, the company that I'm a part of, they actually were on the New York Stock Exchange, and actually they were on the New York Stock Exchange above companies like HBO and Best Buy and some of those well-known companies that we all know. They were on the American Stock Exchange and they were number one. Then they moved to the New York Stock Exchange and were in the top 50, right? In all the stocks, right? And so that's pretty impressive. And I saw this article that talked about that in Money Magazine. So, my company at that time, it had given us the option where we could buy stocks every single month, right? It was like a program. You can have it withdrawn right from your account, and you could buy, so many shares of stock every month. So, at that point, you know, I wasn't balling. I wasn't making a ton of money. I was still growing and developing at that point. And so I had made a decision like, look, surely I can buy at least one share a month, right? So that's what I did. I bought one share a month, and at that point, it was around $15 a share. It may have been around $13 to $15 a share. I know it inched up to $18 for a lot of times. Uh, but over the years, I was just buying one share of every month, and sometimes I would buy more, but it was coming right out of my account, and I was just buying a share once a month, every single month. That's all I was doing, and that was really all I really knew, right? Is, hey, it's coming out my account and it's going for something good. And I believe in the company because, hey, this is the company that I'm working with every single day. So I believed in the company. I knew what was going on. I knew the potential and the growth that it had, right? But all I was doing is just buying what I thought I could buy at the time. And so what happened is the company was bought out by a equity firm for $650 million, right? And they went from being public to being private, and there's a lot of benefits to that, by the way. So I'll talk about that on a later episode. But the reason why a lot of companies go public is because it allows them to raise funds to help them build the company, right? And do extra things with the cash flow that they get from all the investors who are getting a piece of the company, right? By buying shares of stock. So, so they went private, and again, the company was sold again about 3 or 4 years after that for like $1.2 billion or something like that, right? So, solid company, obviously, or I wouldn't have been with them for so long. But when I had to liquidate my shares, because they went from public to private, I got a check from the shares that I had. And at this point, it was at like 40, 50 something dollars. It might even been at $60 a share, right? And so just imagine I'm buying one share every single month for like at least 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know how many years. It may have been longer than that. Probably like 10 years. I don't know. I can't even remember anymore. But I was buying at least true to form. I was buying one share every month, maybe sometimes two or three when I had extra money rolling in, right? And I was just building my business and just growing and developing myself. Well, I had earned enough money from the shares and from it growing over time where I was able to actually I used the money to buy my wife's engagement ring, right? And so that was really, really cool. Like, whoa, like this is how much it is, right? Like, just imagine you just putting a little bit in every month and then but you're not paying attention to it. You don't even know how much it is. And then all of a sudden you get a check, right? And it's like, whoa, so that right there really opened my eyes. Another situation that opened my eyes to in the world of investing in stocks is, I told you guys I have this game called Cash Flow 101, and my economics teacher, who I had on this on the podcast not too long ago, we would teach the game to adults and just different people in the community, and but we would play the game too. And what I noticed is one of the fastest ways to get out of the rat race in this game was to buy enough shares of stock, and then when it goes up, you cash out on those stocks. I say cash out like we're at a casino or something, but you basically sell those shares of stock, and then now you have all this money, and you can buy deals that can bring passive income and get you out the rat race, right? So I'm like, wow, right? Like I bought it at five. I would buy a stock at $5 a share, and then it would go up to $20 a share in this game, right? But this game was really designed to emulate life and be a educational game, not just an entertainment game. And so, long story short, I started picking up on that trend and that pattern that it is so interesting because when I would come across the card for the stock, I would buy it up like crazy. Like I would put all my money into it, and then I would end up getting out the rat race faster than everybody because I knew and understood the game, right? But then I see other people, and they would buy a little bit of shares, not really understanding or knowing what it could do, right? And I find that that's very indicative for what people do in real life. The game mirrors people's real life so spot on. I've noticed in the game, and that's one reason why I like to play it too, is just to see where people are at and to just keep on growing on my track. But anyway, so I've started to just notice these things, and so I've been pretty good at identifying and picking stocks that I thought that would go up, right? But over the last year or maybe 2 years, I started to really get more into it, right? Maybe the last 3 to 5 years, I got started to really get more into it, and I think you know, that's just because now they have retail apps that allow you to buy stocks and there's no fees. And that wasn't always the case because that was one thing that kind of hindered me back in the day is every time I bought the stock, I had to pay fees for it. So it's like I didn't really see a whole lot of growth because of the fees, right? But now you have the ability to, they call it retail, but they have these apps and things where you can, get involved and buy stocks without any fees at all, right? Um, and so long story short, I started just investing on a regular basis and buying stuff like, and then they had it where you can buy fractional shares because, maybe you don't always, as you're growing and you're developing and you're getting you're brand new in the world of the stock market and investing. Maybe you don't have $1,000 to buy one share of a stock like Tesla right now, or maybe you don't have a whole lot of money to buy, one share of Apple, which is like, you know, over $100 something a share, or whatever the stock is. But we know these are valuable companies, and we know they're going to keep going up, right? But the key is to buy low and sell high, right? And so anyway, my point is, I've just started to just really embark on this journey of investing in stocks and stuff. And I love it. Like, I'm enamored with it because it's just so fascinating to me. Like for instance, one event could happen in the world, and that can dictate what happens to a stock, and that could turn into major profits for someone, right? Like, I'll just give you an example. iPhone, I'll just use Apple as an example. iPhone, and by the way, I'm not even an iPhone person, right? Team Android, right? But but let's just say Apple comes out with a new phone, and it's like gonna be the biggest, baddest, hottest phone on the market, like innovation, like it's just about to do all kind of crazy stuff. Well, investors will say, okay, if it's coming out on this day, so I'm going to start investing before then, so that when it comes out, boom, you see the excitement in the marketplace drives that stock up a lot of times, and it also drives your income up based on you buying low and selling high, right? And so um, those things are fascinating to me. Those things, how an event could dictate a stock, and that could dictate somebody's pockets, right? And knowing when to play and how to play. And so one of the things that I started doing is learning how to read and understand charts, and learning how to, um, learning when to buy. Because it's one thing to buy low, sell high, but it's one thing to know when to buy when is the low point. Because if you're looking at a stock, you don't really always know, if it's gonna go lower or if it's gonna go higher, right? You just don't really always know. But there's some key indicators that can tell you what direction it's gonna go in, how fast it may move, or how much it may move, and things like that. There's all these different indicators, and that's what I've been studying over the last, I don't know how many months, and just a few months, and it's just been really exciting. And I've been talking about it. I've had 207% gains, and lots of really, really good gains on some of the investments that I made. And I've been just growing my account, right? Just growing it steadily while I'm learning, because I'm still learning. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning, but I know more than the average person now, because I continue to study, study, study. So all the things that I talk about on this podcast, these are just things that I'm applying. And I just want to talk about this today because it's just, again, back to the game, how you get out the rat race faster, because of it. I'm not saying that stocks is the only way, but I noticed as I talk to people about it, that a lot of people have a tendency to dismiss it because they don't understand it, right? And it can be very complex. I mean, it really can. Even for me, even with the knowledge that I have, there's still so much I don't know, and so much more that I need to know, right? But I'm committed to continuing to learn it, because once you learn it, it's a science. It's like boom. It's like you can, and like I said, in the community that I'm a part of, they call it printing money, right? Just printing money, right? And it's fascinating to me that you can invest in something today, and in a few hours you could be up 1,000%. You could be up 200%. You could be up 400%, 1,600%, right? And so at that point, it's just a matter of how much are you going to put in. Do you know when to put in, and do you know when to take out? And just studying and understanding those things. And look, you could just earn earn consistently, right? And then you can earn the income you need to do other things, like put it into vehicles that will pay passive income. Because what we're talking about right now is basically capital gains, where you invest at a lower level, it goes high, and now you realize a certain profit, and then you sell, right? And you take your profit, right? But the key is the key to this game is you want to have passive income that's greater than all of your expenses. You want to have passive income that's paying all your bills that you're not necessarily touching. Like for instance, there's a stock I mentioned not too long ago, APTS, one of the apartment building stocks. Um, and interestingly enough, that is at a high right now. I mean, it was like at $7 months ago, and now it's at like $14. But it also pays dividends every single quarter, right? So, this gentleman that I follow, he said, "Look, he makes $32,000 a year off of off of dividends, right? That means he's already put money into it, and every quarter it just pays him dividends, and at the end of the year, it's paying him $32,000." Right now, of course, he put a lot of money into it for it to pay him that much, but he doesn't have to do anything else again for it to continue. It's just going to keep paying as long as he owns those stocks. It's going to keep paying him, right? And so this is different than what most of us are taught is buy mutual funds or just put all your money in 401k, or they call it park and pray. Like you just put your money in it and just hope it's going to go up over time, uh, and stuff like that. So me personally, I just don't subscribe to that per se. I want to know what am I investing in, and I want to understand the whole nature of the investment. I want to understand what's the best thing to get into, and now I'm starting to understand when to get out and when to get in and things like that. So why am I sharing this with you all? Because and there's so much more I could share, and there's so much more to know. This is not a training or anything on stocks. It's just maybe whetting your appetite if you don't really understand it, just giving you my perspective on it. And maybe it could be something that could be a viable vehicle for you. And by the way, if you want to learn more about it, reach out to me, right? Like, I'd be happy to share some thoughts and some ideas that I've been learning. And maybe you already know some stuff and you can share some of that stuff with me, right? And we can grow together. But I just want you to know I'm excited about it and I'm going to keep diving into it. Even after I get off this podcast, I'm going to look at what stocks I'm gonna be buying for tomorrow and continue to grow my account because I see, I've seen people who are having $100,000 days, right? Like sick, you know, and it's just it's out there, it's available, it's possible. And so, like, we live in the information age, and we have all this information at our fingertips. You can buy courses, you can watch YouTube videos. I mean, why wouldn't we take a little bit of time to study and understand something that could make our lives better? Right. So you guys hear me say all the time, make your money work for you and then make your money make money. Well, this is making your money make money. It's when you have some money and then you invest it and let it grow to make more money, right? Where you're not doing anything other than putting it in, and then the market is going to do what it's going to do, right? And so I said it many times, but it's exciting. And it's a journey though, just like anything, just like entrepreneurship is a journey. This is a journey, and some people don't ever choose to take that journey. But you know me, I'm a little bit different than the average, and so I'm willing to go on the road less traveled, and I'm inviting you to come along on that road with me. And so I'll talk about some things as I grow and as I learn. But let me just say this: looking at my portfolio that I have here that I've been working on, and like I said, I'm new to this. I'm not an expert, but one thing that is exciting is when I look at my portfolio here of what I've been building. Over a course of since 2017 is when I really got involved with this. That's what 18, 19, 20, 21. So about 4 years. I've seen a 31% increase in gains, right? And that's really just the beginning. I've seen more than that. I've seen at one point I had like 42%, 48%, but then I've had some losses. I think the losses are mainly the parts where I was starting to learn, right? So over a course of so as of to date, I should say I'm at 31% in as an increase from what I put in over time, right? And the reason why I share that is because there's not a lot of investment vehicles where you can see 30, 40, 50% gains and increases. And you know what I'm saying? And that's one thing that really attracts me and excites me. And I'll kind of end with this. I learned the traditional route, which is you just buy the stock, and one of the things I was doing is I was just buying the stock and then holding it, and I wasn't going to ever give up on it because I was only buying things that I felt like were long term investments, right? And I didn't really care what it did. I didn't care if it went up or down. I was buying for the long term, right? But then I started studying and understanding other ways, like stock options, where you're not necessarily buying the stock itself, you're buying rights to the contracts. You're buying rights to the shares, to 100 shares. And not to get all into it, it could be complicated if you don't understand. It's something that you really got to study. But I've seen that that's a faster way to increase, right? And so that's something that I've been diving into recently and lately as well. So again, I'll share things that I learn them, but some of my just if you want to know some of the investments that I've made, I've invested in Tesla, I've invested in Apple, of course, I've invested in that apartments, I've invested in companies like ETFs. So what an ETF is when it takes a bunch of companies and it it's in one. So you can invest in one company. It's kind of like a mutual fund, but mutual funds typically tend to have high fees a lot of times. But ETFs, they don't. Not all of them. Right, but there's a lot of them that don't have higher fees like some of the mutual funds, but they operate kinda like off the NASDAQ, so to speak, and again, by no means am I expert in this, so I'm still learning it as I'm going. But I'll just say that I've made some pretty decent investments, and of course, I'm diving into crypto as well. So I'm a little late to the crypto world, but I'm starting to learn it and get on it as well. So again, I'm just excited about it, and you're gonna hear a whole lot more from me. But I just want to share what I'm learning, and hopefully some of you all may see it as a vehicle to help add to your wealth. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. We're about building our wealth, so that we can leave a legacy for our family, our children, that we could put a blanket of security around our families, right? So we can do the things that we need to do, and really lead in terms of not just health, but wealth and prosperity and spiritually, relationship. We want to be good in every area, but this is just one area that could feed some of the other areas, if that makes sense, right? I mean, think about it. You have the extra income, you can buy a personal trainer. You can buy the organic. You can go in the organic aisle when you go shopping. It's interesting that the healthy stuff costs more money, right? So you almost have to succeed in that level to eat right, and to you want to hire a personal trainer, right? You want to travel, see the world, and experience new things. Maybe you want to learn some other languages. Maybe you want to learn some hobbies and things. One of the things I want to learn is how to play the guitar, right? I could hire someone to teach me, right? So my point is, having investment vehicles that can allow you to have freedom. That's what this whole podcast is all about, is freedom. And I know I'm talking a lot on this episode because I just got a lot to share in this regard. But I've just seen some serious growth in that sector, and I just wanted to bring it to you and share with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope I wasn't rambling, but let me know what you like about this episode in our Code Freedom Facebook group. You can just go to Code Freedom. I'm sorry, thewaytofreedom.info, thewaytofreedom.info, and it'll take you right to our page. So Appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. This is episode 124. Stay tuned for the next few episodes. Going to be some exciting ones coming up. God bless you all. Take care. Take charge. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys for listening. Definitely feel free to take a screenshot of this episode, tag me in it on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you find me on social media. I would love to give you a shout out. Hey, you might even get a prize. Who knows? But excited that you had a chance to take a listen. I hope you got a lot of value. And definitely feel free to give us 5 stars as well as a review. Show us some love, and we appreciate you. God bless you all, and see you all over the top.